Critical update alert. This is breaking, and it affects every single XRP holder watching right now. Whether you hold 10 XRP or 10,000, what I'm about to show you could determine whether your position becomes legendary or forgotten in the next market reset. Because this isn't hype, it's an engineered choke point. Something beneath the surface of Binance's liquidity system is shifting, and it's doing so with precision. Over the past 72 hours, XRP's price action hasn't just been volatile, it's been orchestrated. At the time of recording, XRP is trading around 235, but the number itself doesn't matter anymore. What matters is why that number exists, and the invisible tug-of-war happening under it right now between institutional accumulation and retail liquidation. In the next 60 seconds, I'm going to show you the signals, the data patterns, that prove this isn't a random dip or routine volatility. This is a designed liquidity sweep, executed in real time, while most traders are still trying to process what hit them. Now, before we go any further, this is not financial advice. This content is for informational and educational purposes only. Always do your own research and never invest money you can't afford to lose. With that said, stick around and don't blink. Because once you see the timing, the wallet flows, and the exchange behavior that align with this drop, you'll understand. This wasn't chaos. This was choreography. And if history is any guide, what comes next could rewrite the value of every XRP token you hold. So buckle up. In the next few minutes, we're going to expose how Binance's internal liquidity system may have just reset the playing field, how it mirrors historical manipulations that preceded every major financial transition, and why the data now suggests the final hand has already been dealt. The collapse we saw wasn't some random volatility event. It was a precision strike, timed to the second, and triggered through a network of liquidity taps that only a handful of entities even have access to. And at the center of that storm sat Binance. During the crash, XRP's order books didn't behave like a free market. They behaved like a machine resetting its own code. Order depth evaporated, spreads widened to levels we haven't seen since 2021, and entire trading pairs went illiquid for 38 minutes straight. In those same 38 minutes, hundreds of millions of dollars in leveraged positions were liquidated. That's not a coincidence. That's an algorithmic design. When we tracked the data on-chain, something chilling appeared. Minutes before the drop, Binance's main cold wallet sent small test transactions, micro-pings, to multiple sub-custodial addresses. Then, as those wallets began moving capital, API latency spiked globally. You couldn't log in. You couldn't close a trade. But somehow, the house could still play. It's the digital equivalent of the casino locking the exit doors just as the wheel starts spinning. Retail traders were frozen in place, forced to watch the floor disappear. And when the dust settled, billions had transferred from weak hands to institutional cold storage. Now here's where it gets darker. And it's why I'm calling this the final hand. Because this pattern isn't new. It's the same liquidity script that's played out before every major transition in modern finance. From the 2008 short-selling traps to the gold market flash smashes of 2013. Each time the insiders front-run the collapse, lock out access, and accumulate the wreckage. But here's the twist no one's talking about. This time, the XRP ledger itself is clean. The manipulation isn't on-chain. It's happening at the gateways that control price discovery, the exchanges. And Binance, sitting on the largest share of XRP liquidity, can tilt that discovery at will. So why does this matter for you right now? Because the market doesn't just reward patience, it rewards awareness. When you know the rules of the game, you stop being the product and start becoming the player. And speaking of playing smarter, a lot of you have been asking me, where do I even trade safely anymore? So let me give you something I personally use and trust. MEXC. MEXC isn't perfect. No exchange is. But here's the reason I use it. They've maintained uptime during volatility events where others have frozen. Their order books stay live, their API feed stays stable, and you can actually execute the trades you plan for. Plus, they're expanding liquidity in XRP pairs faster than almost anyone else in the industry right now. So if you want a backup route, a hedge against the centralized choke points, check them out. I've pinned the official MEXC link in the description For those of you who keep asking where to start, use it, learn the tools, protect your position, because when the next liquidity reset hits, you'll be glad you had more than one door out of the building. Now, back to the data. As the cascade unfolded, you could literally watch the bots on Binance's futures market flipping from short to long in seconds, collecting on both sides of the crash. That's not random movement, that's controlled volatility. And controlled volatility equals controlled profit. And that's why this event matters. It wasn't just another crash, it was a live fire test, a full-scale rehearsal for the next phase of market control. And whether you like it or not, XRP was the chosen asset to play the role of stress test subject. Because behind every liquidation, there's a ledger entry. And when you follow those entries, they always end up at the same destination, the institutions preparing for the next financial reset. Every time markets shake like this, the headlines say the same thing: volatility, liquidations, macro pressure. But the truth is far simpler and far more deliberate. This wasn't chaos, this was coordination. The same week Binance's systems froze, we saw synchronized movements across global liquidity networks, FX swaps tightening in London, dollar repo spikes in Singapore, and futures rollovers in Chicago clearing billions in volume within hours. That's not coincidence, that's alignment. And when you align those movements with what's coming in November, Ripple's global summit, the ETF approvals, and the BIS rollout of cross-border token pilots, you begin to see it. We're witnessing the construction of a new financial operating system, and XRP sits right at the core. Binance's role wasn't to destroy value, it was to redistribute it, away from retail chaos into institutional order, to test the plumbing of a market that's being rebuilt around tokenized liquidity, where every bond, every fund, every ounce of gold, every currency lives on a digital ledger. And guess who's building those rails? The same players we keep naming: BlackRock, JP Morgan, Citi, and Ripple. Think about it. Larry Fink didn't just discover tokenization last week. He's been preparing for this for years, talking about turning ETFs, bonds, even real estate into on-chain instruments. And while the public focused on Bitcoin ETFs, the real prize has always been the plumbing, the settlement layer. That's where XRP lives. It's not about price speculation anymore. It's about infrastructure. And this is where the dots start connecting. Because when you combine Binance stress testing, retail liquidity, BlackRock laying down tokenization frameworks, and Ripple preparing to showcase enterprise adoption at swell, you realize this isn't a series of random events. It's the first rehearsal of the tokenized economy. XRP is already integrated into that conversation, whether retail understands it or not. Every shakeout, every fake crash, every coordinated outage is part of a larger calibration. They're ensuring that when the system finally flips, when settlement goes fully on-chain, only the cleanest, most liquid, and most compliant assets remain. And that's the paradox. The very manipulation that frustrates us now may be the cleansing process that prepares XRP for its real role, as the digital bridge between institutional finance and the open blockchain economy. If you're watching this, you're early enough to understand the story before it's rewritten. Because once regulation locks in, once ETFs go live, and once liquidity migrates from speculative exchanges to tokenized balance sheets, there won't be another entry point like this one. That's why this moment matters. That's why the 235 level isn't just a number. It's a test of conviction. Every time they shake the tree, weak hands drop their fruit, and the roots of this system grow stronger. So remember this: fear is their tool. Awareness is yours. When you understand how liquidity really moves, you stop being trapped inside the game and start seeing the board. Because whether it's Binance, BlackRock, or the IMF, they're not just trading assets. They're programming the next monetary system. And every XRP you hold isn't just a coin, it's a key. Empires fall the same way, quietly then all at once. And every revolution starts the same way, with a few people who saw it coming while everyone else laughed. Right now, we are those few. While the masses chase headlines and panic over red candles, we're here connecting dots the world isn't ready to see yet. This isn't just about XRP. It's about the architecture of wealth being rewritten before our eyes. The rails are changing, the power's shifting, and the gatekeepers are panicking because they can't stop what's already in motion. You're either a spectator or a participant, and if you've made it this far, you've already chosen your side. So here's what to do next. Smash that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to the Matrix Millionaire Movement right now. Every click, every share, every word of support pushes this message through the algorithm. Because this channel isn't entertainment, it's preparation. We're not here to predict the future, we're here to build it. And when this new digital empire locks in, I promise you, The ones who held their conviction through the chaos will be the ones writing the next chapter of financial history. Stay sharp, stay sovereign. This is the Matrix Millionaire Movement, where knowledge becomes leverage and leverage becomes freedom.